Cameron Parish Police Jury's, agenda morning session, Monday, August 4th, 2025. We're gonna get started with the pledge of allegiance and a prayer. All right. Welcome, everybody, and we'll get up Mr. Scott. And I asked Mr. Scott to come with some information on some of the consolidation, some of the entities to see what the numbers look like. This is information only to get an idea of what it would look like. Well, thank you, Mr. Scott.
I appreciate it. In the year 2024 tax year, we collected parish-wide $72.7 million. LNG Industry paid approximately $47 million of that. Other personal property and public service was $25.7 million. Land and improvements was about $3 million. Land and improvements are your homes, camps, and the land. In 2024, Ambulance District 1 had a millage rate of 31.08 with a revenue of approximately $2 million. Ambulance District number 2 had a millage rate of 9.5 mils, which collected approximately $4 million. Revenue for both districts totaled $6 million. Next. Next. Currently, in 2024, if you combine both ambulance districts, you would need to collect 12.25 mils to generate $6.4 million. The parish-wide projection for the following years and their projected taxable value at 1 mil would collect the number all the way in the right, to the right in the red per mil. So if you had, for instance, in 2029, 12.25 mils would generate approximately $18.4 million. A 5-year comparison from 2024 at 12.25 mils would collect 6.4. In 2029, that same 12.25 mils could collect $18.4 million. Any questions?
Mr. Scott, in 2029, for Ambulance District 1, I'm assuming that's the lower one in my area.
Nope, you're the Ambulance District 1 is 31.08 mils.
Yeah, and which district is that?
That's Lower Cameron.
Okay. In 2029, if it stays apart with them same mills, how much money would that district be generating at the 30 whatever mills?
It would probably be approximately the same as it was this year.
In 2029?
The 80-20 project has started. That's for public knowledge.
Yep.
That's CP2, Venture Global CP2. Oh, what would it, if it'd be parish-wide?
No, sir, if it stays in just the ambulance district.
Oh, if it just stayed at, it would be approximately $2 million because there's no additional LNG money in 2029.
Yeah.
When does Venture come on? It's 20,
Venture Global #1 will come on in 33.
it's 33 when they'll change. That'd be.
That's when Venture Global, you'll start collecting money from Venture Global for CP1.
Yeah, so on the ambulance district 2 with the current mills, instead of moving them, what would they collect in 2029?
If that,
That's what was it.
that, so you wanna, Tom, hang on, I know I'm a calculator.
Yeah, with the same mills that they are currently, not with the, to equal
Okay.
out.
9.5. If you back it up, you can,
You had it on that chart.
yeah.
Yes, if you take the 29 millage rate and you take what is collected in District 2, $14 million in District 2, that's what they would collect. District 1 would not, there's no LNG.
So just say District 1, if we moved it to the 12, whatever, what would just District 1 collect at 12 point, what is it, 62 or whatever it was?
All I did was just put them together as one, because that's what I was asked to do. So,
How many, say if there's a consolidated board, how many, board members would it consist of?
that will be up to y'all.
Because what I was reading, it's only 5 per the statute, because we just did the Cameron Consolidation District. We had to go to legislator to bring it to 6, and they agreed to go to 6 for equal representation.
Correct?
Is it, yeah,
What's that board consist of right now, District 2?
So in 27,
If
it
it's
looks like
consolidation,
12.25 or whatever it is, 12 plus meals will collect around 13 million parish-wide,
Correct. That's in 2027,
Which is
yes.
over
I just
twice
did
what
a
we have
5-year
now.
comparison, figured I'd keep it as simple as I could, so that I don't get in the weeds too much, so I don't have confusion.
so I know my concern for consolidation is fair representation. Especially like this ambulance district, I mean, the rest of the parish is consolidated. My area, Cameron, Creo, Grand Chenier, is consolidated to those 3 districts,
That's
correct?
Yes.
So y'all wanting to combine them, from what I'm hearing from the people, at the end of the day, I don't think it's the jury. The jury, we consolidate the board. Funds are not consolidated. Right now, as it sits, there's only 5 members that could be on the board. There's 7 districts, or 6 districts, 2 jurors and 1. And maybe legislation already moved it to 6, we'll have equal representation. But the issue I'm having is, if we bring it to a vote for the parish-wide, because the people consolidate the money regardless if the jury consolidates the board. If we bring it to a vote, does the majority of the people everywhere say they consolidated, or is it the majority
That's out of my
of
realm.
each district?
He's the numbers guy. We have to structure it from the police jury, and whatever the law is on consolidation, I would think it'd be a parish-wide vote. Whatever the law is on consolidation, legislature, that's what we have to discover with Tom.
Yeah, because I know I would like to see it, just say right now, we got Cameron and Creo and Grand Chenier Waterwork District. The jury decided to consolidate the board. The board's consolidated. The funds are not. You cannot spend 1 cent in another district.
That's correct.
If it brings up to a vote, is it the majority of the 3? Or if say Creo says, you know what, I don't want to participate in it, I want to stay off there ourselves, does the other 2 consolidate? That's because I done talked with the legislator, Secretary of State, Miss Susan, you know, everybody that does, they can't give me that answer right off the bat.
Right.
And I'm just, it's the people's money of each district. We are one parish, but if one district says no, I think they should be opted out.
so.
Because at the end of the day, I don't think it's about the numbers and all that. It is gonna be beneficial for the whole parish to be consolidated. I agree 100%. The question needs to be, when are we gonna start educating the people on it and having town hall meetings in every area, bringing them up to speed, cause there's the one that's gonna decide it in the end. Cause I mean, I'm going through it currently about consolidation. I mean, it's a proven fact with all the money, it's gonna be fruitful, but, it's all gonna come down to a vote from the people.
Of course, it's up to the people.
That's a very-
What I'm seeing there on that chart, in 28, we can actually roll them taxes back in half, so they'll actually be lower across the board in 28.
That would be,
That's assuming 6 million runs the whole parish.
assuming 6 million, right, Jeff, you're right, you're correct. Yes,
So you can definitely roll them back, maybe not in half, but quite a bit, the lower than they are anywhere in the parish now.
correct.
So you basically have 1 year where you'd pay a little higher millage.
Yeah, we actually have a lot more discussion to do on this besides just the finances.
Sure.
One of the things is that we wanna make sure that the people in each district that already exists have the say in what goes on in their district. What happens when you make it parish-wide, then it becomes a parish-wide board that decides where the money's spent and who gets what when. Those people might not have the same idea that we have, that it would be better to go parish-wide. So we have a lot of discussion to do besides just the finances.
And it'll be up to the people, son.
It'd be up to the people.
Yeah, 'cause, and I'm gonna just throw this out there again, just say me and Sonny's area, I bet between my district and Sonny's district is probably more than 50% of the parish. But if you look at the numbers wise of who lives there, it ain't that much. You know, cause we've been having a lot of discussion and talking and filling the people out. And the thing about it is, just say Hackberry and Grand Lake probably got the majority of the people, cause that's where everybody run to that didn't wanna go to Calcasieu Lake Charles and wanna stay in there. Well, if you get a board, kinda like I was discussing with you, Mrs. Scott, if they say, well, there's not that many people down there, why are we spending money down there? But we got over 50% of roads, the parish, you know? So it's just, we need to structure something that each district will still be able to get their fair share and, decide of how their money's spent in their district it would be my greatest concern.
Yes, that would be up to y'all or the jurors.
I
to-
personally think the next step to this, I think town hall meetings are great, but I think before we do that, I think we need to bring the leadership in from sure these two ambulance districts and hear their side of the story as well. I mean, you know, and understand what it is to manage that day to day and what the load is and what that looks like from them. And then probably the next step is to, I mean, actually start talking to the people, educating the people. But
Good
I
idea.
think it's an ongoing conversation, and I'm with Mark. I think a lot of people need to be involved in this.
Well, we're waiting on a proposal from the man that we hired to bring those
Dr. Dan
numbers
Brown.
in, the research numbers in. I think we got it in. I don't know if it's ready to be presented yet or not.
So both, Sonny and Mr. Mark here has, folks in both of these districts.
That's correct.
And
I know like
likewise-
in Grangerville, they would be considered, they're in, say, the rec district. My Grangerville people are in the Grand Lake Rec District. I know, Mr. Scott was saying possibly each individual district, say like I'm gonna just go off the rec district. I know we're not talking about it, but it's the same thing. In my area, I got 3 rec districts. I got Grand Chenier, I got Creo, and I got Cameron. And then, actually, I got 4, and then I got Grand Lake. So, if we structured it based off the districts, my area should have 4 representations, in my opinion, where each district would still kind of oversee their district, but with the consolidated board and funds. I think that would be very beneficial and put a lot of minds at ease if it's structured like that. Because, you know, I wouldn't expect anybody in Grand Chenier area to know what Grand Lake needs in their area. You're talking 2 totally different areas when you get into some of the water districts and stuff like that. So I think we need to get with legislation, because I think right now it's 5. I know we worked it up to 6 on the water board for once you consolidate. That's the I think the bylaws. So what is legislation gonna let us do? Can we do it by districts for representation? Do we do it by just juror districts? I think there's a lot
Well,
there.
that's a lot of questions.
There's a lot of
I'm with
questions.
you on
Yeah.
Most
each
definitely.
district should have a-
This is just a touch of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
This
would,
is just the numbers.
I would say not only do we need to discuss with that, but when it comes to the districts, it has to be the voting districts. In other words, not the not the jury districts, but the voting districts for each section. Like we have two ambulance districts, those two districts would be the ones that would be discussing this stuff. Where if we do it by district here, it would be lopsided as far as when it comes into management.
Well, either way you look at it, I think it's, I mean, I don't need the expert to tell me as District 5 that it's gonna be beneficial. It's gonna be beneficial whether the mills stay high, just say in my area, and say if we get money, we're done talking right now, working with the whole parish, cause we're one parish. If the money might not be consolidated, but when we buy something and we could donate it to other parts of the parish, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can look at it. But my thing is, we're spending a lot of time trying to show the people that it's beneficial and fruitful for the money. That's gonna, regardless if we consolidate or not, it's gonna be beneficial and fruitful on the money. What we need to be talking about is how do we come together as one to make it to where everybody gets a fair share and portion, regardless if the majority's in Grand Lake or Hackberry. Cause I know me and Mr. Sonny's fight's gonna be, we got a big area but no people. So we shouldn't base it off of where the majority's at. We should structure it, and to me, that's where the discussion and the problems need to be worked out in that area. Cause as far as the funds and money, the money's coming, hopefully. It's gonna come one day and it's gonna be fruitful.
This is just the start of it. That's why we're here discussing it today. I know there's a lot more details, a lot more discussions to be had, and that's why we got Mr. Scott here today to get started on what it would look like.
Yeah, and you wanna, you know, for instance, like Mark, you have several different rec districts. So 3, 4, 3 and 4 and 5, we share one rec district too. So it's lopsided for us also as far as representation. But I think there's definitely a way to come together and see it.
For sure.
And in the meantime, I'd like to make it public knowledge as well that, as Scott stated, it's 2029 before we see this money. We have saw some money already on the west side as far as taxing the existing LNG facilities. And likewise, we're approving a fire truck today for Hackberry. We also had a
Okay.
surplus
Back
fire
it up
truck
again.
that we could have
Back it up.
easily, you know, traded in or sold. We're donating it to Klondike. That's the kind of actions that we're talking about, that if we work together as a parish, we can buy a new fire truck, we can constantly pass those forward. If we're in need of equipment, we can constantly update. There is creative ways to work as one parish. So just, I mean, before the money even gets here, I think we've already, I know my fire board, hats off to them, it was a unanimous vote to donate that truck to Klondike. And I thought, I was very proud of them for doing so.
So what I'm looking at there on this parish-wide projection, 27 would actually double the amount of funds they're getting now.
Absolutely.
That's why I say in
That's
28.
the projection.
You look at,
Looking at 1 year,
just the ambulance district is triple. Just the ambulance districts is triple, down the road. And as far as when the money comes, it's here. When I first took office as sheriff, we was looking at from 32 to 36 million, parish-wide collections. And now we're double that, Katie can tell you. So the money is here, so it's time for us to decide one way or the other. Because we don't have 4 years, 5 years to decide, we need to get the structure in place. There's different ways to work around it, yes, but I think these districts, I think is a simple solution. You need one from each district and see if that's legal, where everybody is represented, equally. You know, and everybody in each district can still have their subcommittees where they have 3 or 4 people from each fire district, advising their person that's on it's on the, central board if we structure it that way. But, I think each district should decide, well, we need a fire truck, or we need run some new water lines like Hackberry needs right now. Each district should decide that and not have to wait on another district to decide to give it to them. But all those things need to be worked out structure-wise. It's the biggest thing, like you said, Mark, not financial. Financial is the money's gonna be there, but the structure is the biggest thing to come to an agreement on.
Well, Mr. Ron, you know, we talking about these numbers and we talking about rolling taxes back. In the area, I think if we consolidate the taxes, the mills might go down, but, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is where your expertise come in, Mrs. Scott. For each one of these plants, they're in that little area, correct? Where they go, that's where they go. So right now, the millages is high. So just say we'll use Johnson Bayou for example. You got the Chenier plant. Their millage is high. They're gonna collect a bunch of money when it comes on full force. There's a lot of roads to be done, a lot of maintenance. You go ahead and consolidate the whole parish. Then you drop the millage to get the same amount of money. Why wouldn't we leave the millage high, get a bunch of money, let Sonny's district fix all what they gotta fix before their taxing district and their right gets pulled from them to put it all around the parish. Let them get their burdens out the way and their eggs done. And when they come to a place where they're like, okay, everything's upgraded, we're ready to consolidate and start sharing the benefits with the rest of the parish outside of that taxing district. Instead of, it takes Mr. Sonny 30 years to get all this stuff done in his area. Because I know in my area, the millage rate right there, I can spend every dime of that every year until we get my district on board. But, you know, it's about being official. I mean, like right now, we're talking about funds and doing something. There's a wreck in Grand Lake that's got $2.5 million almost to that with the interest on the table. We're not talking about giving that to the wreck to fix the wreck or build a new one. So I just think right now I don't think we're at a place to talk about consolidation until we get our other affairs in order.
Well, and like I said, I can't speak much on the ambulance itself, other than I'm very proud of the ambulance service that we have, and I know that's shared with I don't know about Mark's district as much, but very efficient ambulance service. Can't speak on that, but I can speak on the fire district. This is the first time in 20-something years that Hackberry is able to buy a brand new fire truck. And just this notion on that means that we got 3 or 4 other units that are very aging. We got a lot of, Kayla can tell you, she's been watching our spending, a lot of maintenance, a lot of things. We live in a saltwater community, and that's wear and tear on all equipment. But to Mark's point, what I see in the last 2 years of being a police juryman is our consolidated as our road and bridge pretty suffering financially. I mean, that we gotta spread it out and hopefully those things relax. But as he stated on my water district, we have been very, very frugal on that water district to save money. I was a president of the board before police jury here, and we were saving money then. But Mr. Scott, Tom, we worked together to make these 5 and 10 year plans. And that's what we need to be focused on right now. We need to be focused on what projects we do, when we do them, and have 5 or 10 year plans in place. So that's where I think we need to put our focus today. And then when you have those plans in place, then you can really look at this. But if you put this in place before you put the plans in place, you're not gonna have the good math there to even know what's ahead. I mean, it's just like my water district. We serve the LNG. The LNG sometimes takes just as much as our community. It's not a problem. They're a great customer. They're a great supporter of the community. But we have infrastructure things that we need to address in them water districts. So that's what, hats off to the water board and Scott knows he's already worked on that. They got a 5-10 year. But like I said, it's all good discussion. I think we all working together as one parish, but we need to really understand what each other's needs are in the different districts and make sure the representation's there to be able to speak on those things.
No, I agree with that, and, when I said roll back, you know, maybe you wouldn't roll it back, in half. Again, I said that earlier, but, you know, you do have big landowners, even in Hackberry, that owns land in District One, and they're paying the 31 mills in District One, and they live in District Two. I'm talking about the ambulance districts. So it's to help the people.
And honestly, this is, you know, this is a projection, a forecast, as you'd say, about the future. And just trying to look into no waste in that. You know, if we can find a way to come together and find a way to work out representation, I think that's a thing to start on now too, not just focusing exactly on what the future holds, but what we could possibly have if we started this today. And it might be something to where by 33, talking about the projections all the way up to 33 when the other ones come online, that 10-year plan that we put together and might be possible for every district.
And I know this is getting brought to the table because of the jurors that represent the people who want to see these kind of things happen, and that's our job. We're here to bring that. I will ask if we're going to continue in these discussions, meetings moving forward, if we could start with getting our ambulance leadership here. I would like to request them, if we're going to continue these talks, get them at the next meeting, let them express what their operations are. As far as fire districts, I think most of us got a pretty good handle on what we have on our fire districts. I mean, if somebody's willing to come talk to the fire district, more the merrier. But most of all, I'd like to task, and maybe task the staff, but I'm sure it's gonna lead to the legal end of this, is what Mark mentioned. I would really like to know, so we can educate the people, what that vote looks like. Does the district have to vote? And you know, that might be an attorney general question, I don't know, but I see Tom standing up.
And again, Michael, you know, this, I don't want anybody kicking Mr. Scott. He's only the messenger bringing information. This was brought on by the jury from other areas.
And Mr. Nunez, I'm sure Scott appreciates that comment because he has gotten a little kickback on the idea that, look, it is the jury's decision of what will go forward. Scott and I and whoever else just bring you information. So along those lines, I'll give you information about what the vote looks like. So as I've said before, you all decide what the geography of the district looks like. Whether it's 2 ambulance districts, 10 ambulance districts, or 1 ambulance district. What is the geography? That's y'all's decision. That's in your ordinance. The technical legal description of those districts. But then the checkbooks, the special taxing districts, so to speak, that has to be voted on by the people. And specifically, I think Mark had a good question. I think your point is, so what does that election look like? It is an election of the entire new district. So for instance, if you were to consolidate ambulance 1 and 2 into a parish-wide single consolidated ambulance district, so to speak, then the entire parish would vote on that tax question. The tax proposition would look like this. It would be what we call an in lieu of tax. So in lieu of, and what does it say? You have ambulance district number 1 is 31 mills, ambulance district number 2 is 9.5. Instead of those 2, we're gonna have 1 millage for this parish-wide new district of up to 12.5. That's what the election would look like. And the entire district, the new district would vote. Not just one or the other, the entire. So I'll give you for example. Right now, or up until a year and a half ago, number 2, ambulance number 2, did not include Lowry and Klondike in the last year or so, y'all voted to change the geography of ambulance number 2 to incorporate Lowry and Klondike. So now Lowry and Klondike is technically within the geographical boundaries of ambulance number 2. Ambulance number 2 has a tax renewal coming up next year to renew their 10-year millage. Lowry and Klondike will be included in that election to vote on that tax. Now, because of that election is unique in the sense that now there's a new area of the parish being Klondike and Lowry who's never had the tax before, and now they're coming into the taxing district of ambulance number 2. I've referred ambulance number 2 to hire the Jones Walker Law Firm, a gentleman named Matthew Kern, who they specialize in this kind of thing. So they have hired Matt. And we had this email conversation just in the last week or so about this question is, with respect to Klondike and Lowry, now being in ambulance number 2, do they have to have, does just Klondike and Lowry need to have an independent, separate election to decide whether they want to be part of that taxing district? And he said, no. The election will be all at one time. It'll be a renewal of ambulance number 2's annual, their 10-year millage, and Klondike and Lowry will get to vote on it. So it's just, so that's, if you are following me now, so here's what could happen.
So, Mr. Tom, just to be like a good steward to represent my district, I get we could do it like that and it can be like that, but just say if in my district and enough people wanted it that way, because at the end of the day, I represent the people, but unfortunately, sometimes when you go to that poll, you're gonna push the button different from what you talked on. Is there any way we could get the voice of the people on a previous election to see if they want to participate or not?
I don't know if I understand how, in a previous election. What do you mean?
Instead of just doing the consolidation because the 7 of us up here says we want it, can we do beforehand? What's your vote on wanting to be in a consolidation for your taxes?
So if I understand, you want to know if, let's just say, the South Cameron area, ambulance number 1.
Yeah.
You just want a vote within that district, which would be Cameron, Creole, Grand Chenier. Can we put something on the ballot that says, do you want to be consolidated with parish-wide? Would that be it?
Yes.
I don't know if you can do that.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe, I really just don't know.
Because
It's not asking for, it's almost like a political poll. You're asking for their opinion on something. It's not voting for an action item. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Maybe we can.
And the reason why I'm pushing for that so much and looking for an answer is because I didn't call around. But my biggest thing, consolidation is brought up when you have too much a surplus of funds. Nowhere in the entire parish on any entity is there a surplus of funds. I know it's a goal for a lot of the jurors for consolidation because their people wants it. On here, I'm seeing ambulance and fire districts. What does a hospital consolidation look like for my area? Do we consolidate? Or are we gonna,
I don't know that the hospital is a special. The South or whatever it's hospital number 1 is a special taxing district that just incorporates mostly traditional South Cameron and Creole.
It would definitely benefit though if it was parish wide for the hospital, correct?
Would you give services parish-wide?
Yeah.
Yes. So
You want to drive it from Grand Lake to Creole?
here's the
sure they'll
uniqueness.
give it.
Not apples to apples. The thing with the hospital is you don't have a hospital anywhere else in the parish, like you have fire, water, rec, so forth and so on. So you're not consolidating another hospital. So for instance, if there's a West Side hospital and an East Side hospital, you're not consolidating those 2 hospital districts. You just have one hospital in Cameron. It just happens to be historically in South Cameron.
It would be
Now-
kind of like the health unit. I mean, I saw a young on Facebook saying they was waiting on the ferry when he was born back in the day to come to Dr. Clark's office in Creole. That's where he was born. So, if we're going to talk consolidation, I'd like to do it all the way around.
So you would not, so the hospital would not be a consolidation. The hospital would be expanding its
Expanded to
so
be
again,
one.
again, you, the jury, can expand its boundaries to parish-wide, and then the entire parish would vote on that tax issue. That's how that would work. I will just further emphasize what's happening with ambulance number 2. So if now Lowry and Klondike is now part of the geographical district of number 2. Everyone in Klondike and Lowry, let's say theoretically, votes no. They're probably still gonna be taxed. Because Hackberry, Grand Lake, historically have had this tax, they're comfortable with the tax, they're gonna outweigh with the numbers of whatever. And so Mr. Johnny and I had this conversation a few months ago, said, hey, make sure your people are comfortable with this ambulance, being part of the ambulance, because more than likely, the renewal, it will be renewed, that tax will be renewed next year, and then they're going to be taxed at 9, or whatever the millage is, and it's my appreciation that that's what they want to do. So that just, again, drives home that example of, again, the people of the entirely new created district vote. You're fired. We did that already. Consolidated 3 districts of Cameron, Creole, and Grand Chenier. Those 3 districts voted in one election. In lieu of these 3 taxes, we're gonna have one consolidated tax, and they voted in favor of that. So that's how it works. That's how, my understanding. If that helps the public, help you.
Yeah, that makes sense. What Tom is saying is, where the people be voted on the financial end.
Yes.
Along with that, before we put that vote to the people before the election, we will determine some type of, or y'all will determine, I'll be gone, some type of structure to propose to the people at the town hall meetings so they'll know what they voted on when they go to vote. Now, that being said, it was mentioned about a certain district opting out if they didn't want to, where if districts can opt out of consolidation, there's no use in proceeding forth with consolidation.
That's so. First, I'm like Scott. I'm not taking a position to do or don't consolidate one or two. Or I don't. That's again y'all's decision. I don't vote on that. I'm here providing the information. But the question about how does the structure look like? So if, assuming that you do consolidate something, all, whatever, what does that new organization look like? And Mark gave a perfect example. Again, we consolidated the 3 water boards of South Cameron. Typically, the legislature says your boards typically have 5 members on the board. So we started out with the consolidated water district having 5 board members. Once we got into it, the issue was brought up. That you had 3 taxing districts, but you only have 5, so there wasn't fair representation of the historical districts. So we needed to have 6, so each
Right.
Cameron, Creole, and could each have 2 on the board. Easy fix. We call Mr. Boriock. He puts a bill before the legislature. It's a local bill. And now the law says, whatever the Cameron Consolidated Water District has 6 board members instead of 5. So those are I say easy fixes. If I will say that if I know what the problem is, if I know what the issue is, if Scott or Ryan, or if we know what the problem is or the concern, generally we can give you options. I'm not saying we can fix it. It's not our decision on how it gets fixed. We can generally give you options on how to fix it or how to address it. We just need to understand what the problem or the concerns and the issues are. And I've said repeatedly, the more we hear from the public, the better. Because sometimes the public educates me on ideas that I haven't thought of. And so I always encourage people to do come to meetings or public meetings or town hall meetings. They express their thoughts because it does give us some insight that we don't always know the answer. And I'll end with this. I have started to prepare a slide presentation similar to what you just saw to go around to each of your boards this fall and start with educating the board members.
Right.
And this is what it will somewhat look like, is I will start with the proposition. Let's take Hackberry Fire. What does their proposition look like? What's the wording that people vote on? I bet most of the board members haven't ever seen that wording, what does a proposition look like? It's as elementary as that. We're gonna start with, and we've collected the proposition. So Hackberry Fire, hey board, this is what the people vote on. This is what it looks like. This many meals for the purpose of, and that's what a proposition looks like. That millage of up to whatever. And then we go from there and kind of give an idea of what you're collecting today, what you may collect in 2029, or 2035. So give them some idea of what their revenues will be in the future. And then if Dr. Dan Groff gets involved and y'all retain him to do some analysis, then those boards will be educated on what then Dr. Groff is looking for to help them plan their 10, 15-year projections like the school board did, like y'all will do. That's where we start. We start with education, then we start with planning, and then y'all can talk about what the future looks like, I think, But I mean, we need to have the conversations now, get them started, but that's my goal, to help y'all, help the public understand going forward,
So, Mr. Tom, just one more question. Is it possible maybe to task, because it's caught my attention when you said, what is the concerns and what are we looking for? Is there something we could do or do some kind of feedback to whether the representation will be a juror district, or depending on what entity, what their district looks like for the representation?
Mark, it really depends. So the geography of your jury districts change every 10 years based on population. So your taxing districts don't match up with your jury districts, and you and Sonny are a perfect example. A few years ago, Sonny's district now comes over into Cameron and takes in the Cameron Water Board, so forth and so on, so those they don't match up exactly right. How y'all want that structure to look like going forward would be part of the grand plan. And what that looks like, again, I hear what you're saying is how does let's just the ambulance, since we're talking about ambulance, if you consolidate, you combine the two ambulance districts into one, and the people vote in favor of that. Now you have a district, one ambulance district, and again, historically, it's only 5 board members, but you want to expand those board members. The legislature will say, and I would suggest this would be the suggestion. Let's say you wanted 7 board members, or 9. The legislature just says the consolidated ambulance district of Cameron may have up to 9 board members, okay? Then so now you have the authority as a jury to have 9 members of that board. Then through an ordinance, you dictate how those 9 are appointed. 2 from here, 2 from there, 1 from there. I mean, and it doesn't have to be juror districts, huh? Court board boundaries, yeah. I mean, that's a good example. I mean, then you decide where those board members come from. I wouldn't leave it up to Baton Rouge, because it's a lot harder to change a statute than your ordinance. So going forward, your ordinance would say, and right now, again, with respect to your hospital board, you and Mr. Sonny have to kind of work together on how to appoint those board members, because y'all's juror districts overlap.
Yes, sir.
If you want to leave that to the discretion of y'all working together, you could do that. If you don't want to leave it to the discretion of the jurors working together, then you put it in your ordinance. We're going to take a member from this area, and you dictate an ordinance where those board members come from. Again, those are just ideas, options, and again, that would be my suggestion of how you would address the board member issue, kind of like we did. Now, for instance, your water board. The statute says your consolidated water board in Cameron can have 6 members. It doesn't say where the 6 members come from, and even our ordinance doesn't say that. Now, you understood, and y'all have worked together to put 2-2-2. If you wanted that in your ordinance, then let's put it in the ordinance. But y'all have worked together to, as I would expect we would, to accomplish that objective, because that's what the people wanted, and you accomplished that. So, however, again, at the end of the day, y'all decide what the structure looks like.
Yeah, I'd like to say this, it's not gonna be a simple fix. It's not gonna be just, let's consolidate the taxes and go forward. Because from my point of view, my taxpayers are gonna have to say, we're gonna be competing for our own money.
Yes.
Okay, so it gets to be some issues. There's a lot of issues.
How's it their own money?
Well, because they have it now. Now, you wanna go parish-wide with those taxes, that money would be spread around. Right now, it's theirs. It's their tax district's always been their tax district. So it's their money to spend how they want to, okay, or how they need to.
But Sonny, it took the whole jury.
Hold on a second, let me tell you, it comes the same way, we have parish-wide taxes, mosquito board, we have parish-wide road taxes, we got all different kind of taxes that are parish-wide. And we compete on that, and I'm gonna tell you something, more often than not, we lose, okay? Because we have one representation, y'all have several. And that's the way people are gonna view it. We have to address those issues. Have no problem spreading money around, have a problem being fair and letting the people decide how they wanna spend their money. Because the people, in the end, we work for them. They don't work for us, we work for them. And we shouldn't be making decisions without their consent.
Correct.
I agree with that.
And I'll kind of touch up a little bit, and then I'm done on the
I agree
consolidation.
with the people.
Because in my district, I got 3 rec districts. With the less amount of people probably almost in any of the other districts. I think I got 700 or 800 people. I have 3 working nice recs. Now, whether or not we got 5 people going to them or not, we got recs that are working. My issue is, if we go to a parish-wide vote, the majority of the jurors are in Grand Lake. I understand that, and me more than anybody look at it as one parish. So far, since we've been in here as jurors, anytime we could give anything to Grand Lake, we have gave to Grand Lake. So my concern is what Sonny's concern is, and it's not just mine, it's the people of our districts. We got 3 districts. Are we not gonna build these 3 rec backs and move these 3 recs to Grand Lake just because the more people's there? And the people's gonna be upset because we have 3 working recs. It's been 5 years, and I watched the rec board time and time again, and Grand Lake come in here and ask us for help and everything. And we have not sat down at the table and helped these gentlemen. I was just eating lunch with a board member from the rec Saturday at Chessone's. So I mean, consolidation is good, but we have other pressing problems that we should be working on. And at the same time, when we're caught up on our regular everyday duties, hey, let's talk about consolidation. Let's talk about how we can move it, because we're getting bogged down in consolidation today. Today we're broke. Each entity is broke. Nobody's thriving. Next year, in 4 years, when I get voted out, or 2.5 after my 4-year term, my area is still going to be broke. So that's just my concern, and I'll quit.
That's not what I seen on this projection.
I see that, but unfortunately,
We have to start somewhere, and again, this
We
is
have
the beginning of the conversation.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
And in the thank God for LNGs. If it wasn't for LNG, we wouldn't have any avenue. The districts with the LNG does have an avenue for improvements. What we're trying to do is just benefit the whole parish. Give the whole parish avenue for improvement without hurting any one district. I said that before I was ever appointed. Are you for consolidation? I am for consolidation if it doesn't hurt any other one district. I don't believe in hurting one district to help the other. But it's my conviction right now. I've been dealing with these numbers for a long, long time. And I said I would believe it when it came true. Well, it's coming true. And it's my conviction that we will be able to help the whole parish and not hurt anyone else. Right now, Mark, you know where your district stands, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about getting things in place, answering to the LNG companies when they say, when is enough enough? We have to justify our tax, just like I had to justify the sheriff's office tax. We have to justify this tax money and this tax roll, and we have to come up with a plan for justification in order to keep on collecting whatever we need to collect. And we can see in the future when we're gonna be able to roll back these taxes, as I did with the sheriff's office. As the property value goes up, then you roll your millage back down. But in the meantime, yes, sir, we do have a lot of improvements to make in different areas. And I don't know one area in the parish that doesn't have improvements to make.
I got a conviction too. I'm gonna start talking these new projects, and we're gonna start putting some compressor stations and pipelines through Grand Lake. So that's what we're gonna do.
So,
We're gonna get
Mr.
on the tax base.
Listen, Ron, I just want to clarify again, and I hate that stuff keep popping up in my head. We got better things to do today.
We're gonna put it.
I'm gonna use the mosquito board so you can understand where I'm coming from. The mosquito board is a consolidation parish-wide. Is that correct?
Yes.
When we come in here as jurors, first on, and you talking about hurting other parishes, right now, my district ain't even on their feet yet, or even could afford to be on their feet. We have 700 people here, but I'll use the mosquito control because this is factual and it happened.
How many members on there, Mark? Mosquito board.
We'll talk about the members after this because I know where you're going, because I was going to remove one of my members. You did not produce and bring a member to the table, so I wasn't going to throw a guy that been out on there for years and years to have an open seat. I understand that. Just like if you want to talk about members, for the Grand Lake Rec, I had Mr. Max Guthrie wanted to be on there. I told Miss Mary meetings prior to it, but I was the better man. I let Mr. Sam put an excellent gentleman on there for Mr. Sam's representation, but it was out of your district. So I don't want to talk about fair. We want to talk about facts. The fact of the matter is the mosquito board tried moving the mosquito control even after we spent all this money and got FEMA grants to Grand Lake when we got as jurors. Well, first off, that's the parish seat. That's where it had to be. It was told to me they was trying to move it up there because there's nobody down here, and why letting it keep get hit by hurricanes and destroyed. I get that. That's a valid point. But why are we going to just move it now when we just built this big building?
Yeah.
Just like I was told, well, you know, they're down there spraying all this land, wasting all this chemical just for cattle or empty lots down here. So I have a hard time believing it's going to be fair, Mr. Ron.
All right. Anything
Ray.
else?
I'd like to say this
Bring
before
forward.
we close this. It's been good discussion. We need a lot more discussion.
Definitely.
But this meeting is for our monthly meeting. It's not the best place to do that. I think we'll have a special meeting. I think if Mr. Tom does what he says and he gets with the board, once that's happened, once we've got our stuff back from this doctor from McNeese, we can start having some structured meetings and discuss how we go forward. There's got to be a way to skin this cat. We just got to work together to figure out how to do it.
And again, Sonny, this was just the start talking about it. Nothing else intended,
Right.
nothing else happening. This was beginning the conversation
But
before the people.
the conversation needs to be had. We put it off long enough. It needs to be had.
All right, moving on. I got here the judge, or is the judge here today? Katie?
No, she's still in court, so I'll go ahead and take that for her, if that's okay with you, Mr. President. Historically, your law clerk for your judge's office has been a temporary position by nature. They would work a full 40-hour week, but they were never entitled to retirement benefits, mainly because our retirement system does not acknowledge short-term employment as an eligible activity under their retirement system. So if their employment is projected to last less than a year, less than 2 years, we are not allowed to enroll them into our retirement system. She went through her proposal with you guys. I think it is in your packets, but COVID kind of put a little damper on things. They weren't having court. When her law clerk left, she didn't replace it with a full-time, with a short-term 40-hour week law clerk. She used a part-time law clerk that worked remotely. Now that they're back in full force, they have a full docket. She is in need of a full-time in-person law clerk. And the one that she's been using as a part-time basis, she would like to offer them a full-time position. The thing about that is this law clerk wants to make it a career. It's not going to be a short-term plan. And so that would trigger a retirement benefit. And historically, you've never offered that. And so we brought this to you for consideration, because if you do vote yes, then you are setting a precedent that in the future, any future law clerk in the 38th Judicial District that would replace this one, if they were going to work more long-term, you would be required to contribute to their retirement benefits. It fluctuates between 10 and 14.5% of their total annual salary, so that would be something that's gonna come out of your general fund. And so she does wanna offer the job, he has agreed to accept the job, and so she is asking for you guys to budget that and approve it. It is not on the voting agenda, we would have to do it as an add-on. So that is what we have presented to you. Are there any questions? And would you like to add it to the voting agenda?
I move to add it on for consideration.
I'll second it.
I'm assuming we have the funds to do so.
It would come out of your general fund. So if you allocate it to the benefits, you might have to trim somewhere else. I could let Kayla answer your questions a little bit more detail, how much?
I think that's a pretty logical question.
It's about, I think right now it's 11%, but it could fluctuate. I've seen it as high as 14.5%. I've seen it as low as 10%. And it changes every year, what your retirement benefit is for your employee.
And previously though, we did give health care and stuff to them.
Healthcare, yes, just not retirement.
And the retirement they put in, cause I know I had a retirement question, it's not actually, the actual retirement ain't paid out of our funds. Do we pay like a percentage towards that, or?
Yes, the employee contribution gets deducted out of their paycheck. That's usually about 9.5%, and then the police jury is considered your employer contribution. That's the one that fluctuates depending on need. It does come out of your general fund, and also I think it's important to note, typically your salary was pre-COVID $40,000 annual, and this one's going to be a little bit higher. She's asking to have them classed within your classification system. They'd be eligible for step increases based off of time served and merit. And so they would work just like a regular full-time employee, like all of your staff.
This one would be directly under the police jury, but like the water districts and so forth, they pay their own percentage of their retirement. Right, the water districts pays, like if we're paying.
Water districts, yes.
Paying that and so on and so forth. But this one here is under the police jury.
This one is, and that's the request. Now, you can counter offer and see if the judge would be willing to cover.
Yeah, that's just a proposal.
Yes, but the proposal right now is to absorb 100% of it.
I know what we should look and take it very much into consideration is, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know what Miss Penelope needs, nor can I begin to even think what she needs as far as, you know, an employee. But I know it's been a struggle for her from talking with her to get a clerk's position filled, because we're way out in the middle of nowhere. Most people living in Lake Charles or wherever they're from. And she's got a guy that's been here part-time for quite some time, and that's very knowledgeable and good at what he does and bring a lot of skill set outside of just a grad student. So yes, of course, you pay for what you get. I think it's gonna go up a little bit, but I think it'll benefit the system and everything. So I think that's just mainly what we need to look at is, this is gonna be a gentleman that was born and raised in Cameron Parish. I don't know where he resides at now, but still, at the end of the day, he brings a lot to the table, and I think we need to take a lot of that into consideration at Miss Penelope's wishes. You know, so.
I believe everybody,
Yeah, Mark, I think
some
we need to
don't
take care of
know
our-
about a law clerk. Everybody agrees that the judge needs a law clerk. And I've talked to some of the jurymen about why that need is. Just like lawyers' offices needs clerks, law clerks, and they have law degrees. And I think we're fortunate to have one with those degrees that he has, environmental science, things like that. And the only change, like you say, Katie, is the benefits the retirement benefits, the pension, that's different now.
So this is to add it. I have a motion by Mr. Ron, second by Mr. Mark.
Add it to the agenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Ms. Kim Malte, introduction of, Mr. Higgins. Mr. Higgins here today?
He is not, but we do have some special guests here that I just wanted to introduce. They're here to visit with us about our opportunities and challenges in the parish, and so I'm kind of hosting them around the parish today, and I just want to give a special recognition to them this morning. Avery Tucker, Mr. Higgins' scheduler, Gabby Harvey, staff assistant, and Miss Elizabeth McLaughlin, which we all know is a good friend, our regional representative, and then Andrew David will be joining us a little later, and Andrew is Congressman Higgins' chief of staff. So just wanted to give them a welcome this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all care to say anything?
Glad to be here. Glad to be here. Meet everyone.
Thank you.
Welcome
All right.
to God's country.
Yes.
Mr. David Cope?
Sir, good morning, guys. Appreciate y'all having me this morning. David Koch and Christian Mathern with me as well from the PCAR group. As most of y'all know, we handle the governmental affairs for the parish and have been fortunate to do so the last few years. I'll keep things brief. I know y'all been running pretty heavy this morning. That being said, please keep us in mind whenever a lot of these town meeting or town halls meetings pop up on the consolidation efforts. If anything, if we need to alert Baton Rouge, or should legislation become necessary. I know we talked a lot about the consolidation bill for the waterworks that we ran in 2024. And Mr. Barrett's spot on. I mean, I agree with him that if you want anything for Baton Rouge, if anything, it should just be the authority to handle it locally. But we'd appreciate just being kept up to speed and happy to offer any guidance we can. That being said, looking back towards the session this past spring that wrapped up in June last month, we did have a successful session pursuing some funding, and I'll kind of stick to the funding and then field any questions y'all may have on specific legislation or otherwise. We did receive $1.5 million for parish-wide road work. I got to see a lot of it coming down 82 today, which is encouraging to see. We did also secure the remaining $4.1 million for the Cameron Ferry, which should be rolled out this year, and I know that's going to be a good one to kind of check the box on. It's been years and years in the work. Those are the two capital outlay projects that we received, $1.5 million. Speaking with Katie this morning, I think y'all are taking it up today to have the authority to draw it down. That should be coming available from the state next month. Typically, they take all the appropriations that were made in session, digest them, and then start releasing the CEA. So we should be expecting it, or I guess this month, August. So we'll work with Katie to get that submitted at the appropriate time. Additionally, the $150,000 that we received for the Klondike Community Center, I spoke to the Treasurer's Office just last week. They should have that out in the next couple of weeks as well. That CEA, it's a separate form given the funding source. But those are the three main funding line items we received this session, working with our delegation members, both with Representative Boryak and Senator Abraham, both of which can't say enough good things about in their support this past session. But like I said, I like to keep it brief. We want to open it up to any questions. I'm happy to talk about specific legislation or other some other fun things we have going on in Baton Rouge.
It was my understanding you helped Mr. Barrett get some FaceTime on that insurance topics that we had, and we appreciate that.
Sure. And appreciate Mr. Barrett's involvement, as well as Katie, and the numerous conversations we had specific, to the whole insurance package. But that surplus fund bill was certainly one that we put a lot of work into, and appreciate Mr. Barrett making the trip to Baton Rouge a few times to have those conversations.
I know moving forward, this CO2 topic's a big topic. One thing that I think is unanimous across the jury is as much local authority as possible.
Sure.
So, that's really, I think, it's not very apparent that it seems like the state got quite a bit of grip on there, but I think the jury's kind of discussed that several times. As much local authority as possible is what we would like.
Sure, absolutely. We'll certainly keep that in mind. I do expect to have some additional legislation coming up this spring. So anything like that, I know we flag and send to Katie, but we'll make sure y'all get your eyes on it, and anything we need to tweak or look at in Baton Rouge, we certainly will.
We plan to be there. We're gonna be supporting some of these bills. One of them that we're not for is that eminent domain given to private companies. We don't think that's the way to go. And we'll be fighting for any legislation that can curtail that.
Yes, sir.
And this pipeline that he's talking about, these pipelines, getting this common carrier designation so they can go in their existing right-of-ways. We're not for that either. We think the people should come and compete for their right-of-way if they want one. So we're gonna just let you know ahead of time, we want the parishes to have as much say as what's gonna happen in the future in their parish as we can. So any legislation that gives that to us, we're gonna be
We'll be supportive, yes, sir. And please encourage, any and all of y'all to please come to Baton Rouge, whenever you can make it. I think the Cameron Day we've been doing the last few years has been huge. It's been great just for awareness and, kind of keeping our name in the conversation on a lot of those topics.
Yeah. As most people know, the jury is very pro-industrial. I mean, we're very
Sure.
grateful for our industrial partners and all, but we all are here to represent the people too, so.
No question.
Make sure.
If y'all don't have anything else, that's really all I got. I appreciate the time this morning. And,
Questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate
Appreciate
it.
Mr. Tom?
All right, thank you. I do want to say, give a public recognition to Senator Abraham and Representative Bourriac for the funds that they acquire for our parish and all that they do. I mean, Highway 82 at Grand Chenier is finally being resurfaced and blacktop. A few growing pains over there. We're getting a new ferry. I mean, those are major improvements to this parish as a result of the senator and representative's efforts. So we're thankful for that. I'm here to ask you. I would have added it to your agenda. I got behind, and I'd ask you to add this on for consideration today. And here's what I'm asking. Currently, your personnel policy states that if a new hire, and this is just regarding vacation, a new hire starts at 0, no vacation. The problem that what I'm asking is that you adjust your personnel policy that a new hire may have vacation starting on day 1. And it would be up to the hiring entity or hiring person, whether it's me or Katie or the judge, to adjust that vacation. And here's why and what it looks like. I'm having to hire, I'm losing 3 employees within the next 6 months, 2 of which have had more than 30 years of experience. You can't replace that institutional knowledge, I mean, you just can't. Now, you can find somebody to come in and sit in their desk and learn, but it's difficult. And what I am finding and this would only apply to transfer. So for instance, if I had a person at the clerk's office in Calcasieu that's decided they wanted to come to work at the DA's office down here because they have experience in law and courtrooms and so forth and so on, and they've got 15 years of experience. Well, they're not going to come down here, even if the pay is the same or competitive. Where I lose out and what I'm not getting is that they're not going to come here and give up 2, 3, 4 weeks of vacation that they've accumulated to start at 0 here. So that's all I'm asking is that these lateral moves, when an employee goes from one public agency, whatever it may be, the clerk's office, the DA's office, whatever, and they come to work for us, that again, the hiring entity, myself being the DA, will have the authority to allow them to have 2 weeks, 4 weeks. Just we can give them that vacation on day 1. Currently, your policy says, I think 10 to 20 years of service with the parish allows them 4 weeks of vacation, okay? 10 to 20 years of service somewhere else, I don't know what their vacation may be. It may be 6 weeks. I'm not asking that they get the equivalent of where they are. I'm just asking that we could put them in that slot that you grant, that you have. I'm not asking for anything more or less, just that we're allowed to recognize their years of service in the public sector to give them the equivalent vacation time that we would give an employee of our own. That's all. And I'm asking to add it on today because I have to hire someone. Actually, I've got to hire now 2 people to replace Renee Dupree, and Renee LeBeau is retiring as well. Those are the 2 30-plus year employees. And I'd like to do that in September. I'm not going to be available for your September meeting as of right now. I've got a trial starting across the street. So I asked that today. And so if you have any questions, and I hope I've explained it well, it's just that we recognize those years of service with another entity for the purpose of coming to work here, and they would get the vacation time equivalent to what if those services were here. That's it. Doesn't add to their payroll, it's just that vacation.
And Mr. Tom, just for a little more clarification, I think that's a great idea, because I know one of your ex-employees was saying that was a big factor. She lost out on a lot of
Yes.
vacation to come start at zero. When, say, like, I know a lot of our road and bridge guys, they bounce back and forth between the state and the parish. Are they transferring it back and forth? Because at the end of the day, your time, you know, maybe it's the same with the DA's office. If you work in there or here, your retirement's still the same, correct?
If I think, so for instance, whoever's under your service to the parish of Cameron, and my employees, the staff in my office fall under your personnel policy. So if they wanted to leave my office and go to work for your office, I think that those years of service, they wouldn't lose anything.
Yes.
So internally, they don't lose it. I'm talking about hiring outside. I don't wanna hire from, I mean, I don't wanna take away employees from here or, you know, the courthouse or from Scott, and as well, I don't want them, you know, raiding my office, and we try not to do that. You know what I mean? So, but they do, if they did transfer internally, they would retain their benefits. Now, going from the road and bridge to DOTD and back and forth, if you adopt this policy, it would allow so whoever hires and fires, whether it's your road and bridge superintendent or Katie, would allow them the discretion of giving the vacation time or not.
Yeah, cause what I was asking is, say like if you was the DA in Calcasieu and you, served your term or whatever, and then you come to Cameron, your retirement, you still got the same years even though you
I do.
start new.
That's right.
So
Yes.
in that case of how I would look at it, to me, that's still a job and in my opinion, should carry your vacation if allowed.
That's all I'm asking, is that, because that, it puts me and your office and others here, we're at a competitive disadvantage. And it is hard to find people that want to be committed to come down here every day. I will tell you, all but one of the people, the staff in my office lives in Cameron Parish. Renee LeBeau is the exception, but Renee, obviously Terry O from South Cameron, she's been here all her life, and her hurricane pushed her into Calcasieu, but she makes that drive every day, and she was committed. So when I hire someone, I'm looking, if they live in the parish, that's a check, obviously a positive, because I'm looking, I don't wanna hire somebody that's gonna be here 6 months, a year, and then look for the next job. But to be competitive, to give me that discretion, if I hire someone with 10 to 20 years of experience from another jurisdiction, another entity, to have that discretion just to give them the years of service to recognize for their vacations. That's it. Because right now, if I were to hire somebody with 20 years of experience from the DA's office in Calcasieu, they start at 0 vacation, they're not coming to work for me. So that's all I'm asking.
Excuse my conservative side here. If we was to acknowledge it as, it doesn't sound like this happens very often. I mean, it really doesn't. So if we was to adjust our policy as a case-by-case situation with jury approval, still accomplishes what we're looking for, huh?
Well, I guess, I'm not saying it with jury approval for every hire. I'm saying leave it, adjust your policy that the years of service can be recognized when they're hired here, and those years of service can be recognized to give them vacation accordingly. But the discretion's up to the hiring person, whether it be me or Katie, to give them 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks. We don't have to give them the whole thing. I mean, it depends on, again, it just is, it would be our discretion. And you're right, it's not, it doesn't happen often. I mean, it doesn't. But in my case, the reason this is brought, I've got to hire 2 people. One of those 2 people, I just have to have some experience. To hire 2 people that don't know what a pleading is, or what, you know, how to subpoena witnesses, I'm gonna be, it's gonna take some time to get, I mean, and I just can't, I don't have that luxury. I've got to hire somebody with some experience that understands litigation. And I'm at a disadvantage if I can't transfer, if I can't offer those folks, those applicants, some vacation, whether it's 2 weeks or 4. It's not gonna be more than your policy provides. It's just recognizing their years of service to the benefit of coming to work here so that they get that vacation that had, just as if they had been here for 20 years.
The DA's just asking if we could add it on to the agenda, and we can discuss it more, but I'll move that we put a addition on the agenda today as, for that policy change.
Thank you.
A question before we second that. Are we doing this for all our staff? Any play, here's my point, we can't pick and choose, we have to be very careful. So how do we word this is gonna be important. So I'm guessing from the HR person, maybe she might have something to say about it. Is that gonna be something we're able to do?
Come on, Trudy.
Morning.
The only thing I'm gonna say is you have to, exactly what you said, it's gotta be fair and equitable across the board. If we're talking from one government entity to another, 100% back it. If we're looking at going from a private entity to a public, I'm gonna say that's not a good idea. Because then you're gonna have people who have been hired from a public and are gonna be, well, what about me? So you're gonna have to make it a precedence that, number one, it's fair across the board. Number two, set your boundaries straight and even. If it's a public to a public, are you going to allow 100% transfer? Those types of things, you need to make sure that those are clear and clean cut and a starting date for that.
Okay,
I would highly recommend it be one.
With that said, is this salary positions?
Yes.
Yes.
Salaried and hourly are a little bit different, I think.
Well,
there's
you have
some leeway.
salary exempt, salary non-exempt, and hourly.
So can we do it through that? Can we?
Well, salary exempt does not have vacation. They're paid regardless of whether they take the day or not.
Yeah, but
Salary
they-
non-exempt.
I'm not, and Trudy has a point, I thought that was on. I'm not asking to amend your vacation policy per se. I don't wanna give anybody anything more or less. I'm just to recognize their years of service at another public entity as if they had worked for us. That's all.
In my mind, it's no different than salary negotiation. I mean.
Pretty much, yeah.
And I understand that. My point being, when you do that for salary people, there's ways to get around that and be able to do it and not affect your hourly employees. I just wanna make sure we're clear on this, that if we're making a policy, that it's not going across the board.
Well,
Exactly.
yes, and I tried to explain that it's an issue that is facing me currently, but Katie will face it, the judge may face it, whoever else is in your personnel umbrella will face hiring people, and it's a disadvantage if we cannot recognize their years of service in the public entity.
And we have ran into that.
Yeah.
And I just want to clarify for the record, they are just talking about your accrual amount every calendar year. He's not asking for discretion to transfer accumulated leave and accrued leave from other places. So when you come to work for the police jury, yes, you might recognize their time of service on your accrual starting that calendar year. And at the end of the year, it's a use it or lose it system. You can only carry over 80 hours. So at any given point, you're only committing to, 6 weeks at the most of vacation leave that you would have to pay out to this person when they retired or they left the job.
I think this is.
Does this affect any current employees?
It would affect some of your current employees. I mean, I don't think we could make it retroactive. We couldn't go back and give them leave to bank, but we could immediately adjust their accrual amount based off of credible time served. And I think maybe what Ms. Trudy was trying to get to is that you would have to specify that what you were gonna tie it to. So it would be if you recognized time served in a Louisiana retirement system, like so either your state, city, or parish. If you have time served and whatever that amount is recognized by the retirement system, that would be something that we could use to make sure that we were being fair across the board.
I think it would be a good incentive, cause, I know it would come out of our budget, it's not gonna roll over from the other entity.
Right.
But I also think we should keep it as, a parish entity as far as rolling it over. But again, I don't know Mr. Tom's situation, he might be trying to get somebody from a private firm.
No.
There's
But
several.
with respect to this vacation issue, it is, as Katie said, if they've participated in a, and I say a public entity, that they've participated in a
retirement.
public retirement system, city, parish, state, that's the years of service I wanna recognize, just for the sake of, giving them vacation on day one with us.
Right.
That if they've had 15 years of experience with the clerk's office somewhere else, that we recognize that 15 years and they would get vacation, the equivalent of what your 15-year employee gets, that's all.
If there's no other discussion, I'll second that motion that, Ron made.
And thank you for that. I'm sorry I didn't get to it sooner, but
I think we need to see what that looks like,
Written up.
you know.
Wait, so are you adding it to the agenda for consideration?
Yes.
We got a second on the floor.
Okay.
So I have a motion by Mr. Ron, second by Mr. Sonny, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. All right, agenda review, or we need to add ons?
Yeah, I
Any
got,
other add-ons?
I got two other add-ons. I'd like to make a motion to add on President authority to sign a letter of support to Cameron Parish Schools supporting the, sports medicine program.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Michael, second by Mr. Sonny, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
I'd also like to add on to appoint Kristen Saltzman, Cameron Parish Register of Voters.
I'll second it.
Second, okay.
Got a motion by Mr. Michael, second by Mr. Mark, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Tony, your turn.
For,
Any questions?
for review? All right, I do have some questions.
Any other add-ons?
Y'all are letting him start.
It's all love.
Any other ads, guys?
No, sir.
Yeah. Yes, sir, review.
Right, I'll go first. Number 6B, what is that one all about?
We actually have the agent here for this application, Hillcorp Energy. This is, Cameron LNG did some dredging and the sediment that was dredged kind of discharged into a different area. And so they're evaluating the site assessment and gonna do some borings to try to get that sediment out to be put back in this mitigation cell that it was supposed to be put in.
What's that got to do with us?
It's a coastal use permit application, so this is a state concern, and all the state concerns applications come before the jury.
It's scary. Why are we talking about dredging and that? On the way, actually, I was in the elevator coming up. Who do I need to, without going into too much detail, who do I need to talk to if maybe a dredging place is affecting somebody off of the dredging spool?
If you know the location, let me know, and I can, it could be the state, the CPRA, could be one of their projects, or the Army Corps.
Okay.
Just let me know the area and I can see.
He's supposed to send me what weirs it's coming out of and what it's affecting. So
Okay.
I'll be getting with you. Thank you.
Mr. J. Lahaye, are you here?
Yep. Yeah, I think that the permit application is pretty self-explanatory, and.
Come on up, Mr. Lyon.
All right. So the permit application is pretty self-explanatory. Cameron LNG constructed a cell where they were going to place the dredge spoil. Either because of poor design or failure, they lost a considerable amount of dredge onto Hillcorp's private property. There's at least 104 acres that have been impacted. What we're proposing to do is to go in and assess just how much of this area is impacted, trying to find the actual delineation line and the volume of material so we can determine what will be required to remove it and put it back where it came from, or properly dispose of it by other means.
Is any illegal activity going on with that right now?
As of now, there isn't. I'm representative of Hillcorp for legal reasons. There is none. We're trying to work towards a potential resolution of this where they would come in and pump it out. We haven't had anything develop in that regards. So what we're trying to do is take the next step and see what it takes to mitigate it, see the volume that's there, the area, so that we can determine and where it's gonna go, right? Because if it's gonna go back into the cell, then we need to make sure the cell can contain it. I mean, it came out what it's supposed to, or is it gonna have to be pumped up to a barge and taken out of there? So we're just trying to determine what's the next steps to get it fixed as soon as possible, and quite frankly, the cost that it's gonna take. And we need to obtain the permit. I think this is the last permit we're waiting on, so that we can go in and do that assessment and determine what it is. But for legal reasons, there is no lawsuits filed. We're trying to work towards getting it resolved without having to go there.
Work towards that, that's good.
And me and Ms. Lai are here to answer whatever questions y'all have about the permit and what our requests, should y'all have it.
So the property's Cameron LNG's. Is that right?
It's
No.
Hillcorp Energy's property.
Okay.
It came out of a cell that Cameron LNG had, that
Okay.
they had pumped into, and there was a
Gotcha.
breach, there was an area that came through, and it came around onto Hillcorp's property, and certain areas went from 3 foot of water to none. I mean, yeah, we were in there the other day, and we got a mud boat stuff, used to be 3 foot of water. So yeah, it is, it's Hillcorp's property, it's on the south side of, I forget the cell name, but it's on the south side, and a little on the east side of that cell.
Does Hillcorp have any position of trying to do coastal restoration on any of that property?
At this time, I can't answer that.
Cause I know, I mean, that's a big topic, you know, from the coastal restoration side.
Good.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Other questions?
Thank you.
All right, guess my next question would be on number 12. You want to discuss that, Katie?
So the Capital Outlay Act for 25-26, David kind of gave you guys a brief update, but we were able to secure an allocation for multiple projects, but with capital outlay projects comes a 25% match. And so we brought it to you to consider to make sure that you were willing to commit your future budget of 25% match before we executed any other paperwork that committed us to the project.
Okay, and that would be, 25% would be?
So the initial 1.5 million, and Mr. Sonny, you got me. I don't know it off my head, but I did send them all to you. You didn't read your email.
Before I vote on it, I want to make sure that.
I'm not as concerned with the 1.5 million, but the it will follow up with a $6 million potential obligation. And so I think what we want you guys to consider moving forward is how committed are you to doing road improvements in the parish? If you're going to commit for 2 years, the 25% of 1.5 million followed by 6 million, we'd like to go ahead and get that from you guys now so we can start working it into our budget. We don't want to get halfway through a project and then pull the plug the second year due to lack of a commitment of funds.
All right, good. My last question would be on number 14. And I'm just gonna ask this, is that for package?
Which
Package sales?
That's the only thing they do.
Yeah, no on-site consumption.
Correct.
That's package, right?
It's for package,
Okay,
yes.
I just make
Is that gonna be like a store or?
It's the Dollar
That's
General.
$1.
Dollar General.
The one in Grand Lake.
They
Yeah.
I was hoping it was the one right here in Canton. Ain't read it. Go
Mr.
my way,
Sonny,
of course.
Mr. Sonny, Mary looked it up for you. It's 1.5 million on this, your 25% match would be 1.5 million on this.
And that would be needed.
You're looking about $2 million over 2 years, is what you're
2
doing.
years today, the other one is in there. I'm good with that.
Thank you, Mary.
Any other questions? Yes.
We do have our insurance agent here, and he's prepared to answer questions regarding our insurance renewals. If you'd like to speak to him next, Mr. Sonny.
Johnny?
I'm trying to give you another question, and you won't take it.
I think we talked.
Any questions? Are y'all good with insurance renewals?
Just for the sake of public record and public knowledge, can you discuss number 19? Whoever feels best to discuss 19.
So we initially added this to the agenda. You have two different things in your ordinance. You have your construction code ordinance, and then you have your floodplain management ordinance. Not everyone in the state of Louisiana is in a floodplain, so not everyone has that specific ordinance. In your construction code ordinance, they have your building code regulations, your IBC, they require the 1 foot freeboard. But because we're in a coastal zone, we have a floodplain ordinance, and nowhere in our floodplain ordinance does it dictate a 1 foot freeboard. So what your permit department's been struggling with since August of 2023 was a lack of consistency in their permitting. Your construction codes were requiring 1 foot freeboard, but your floodplain was not. So permitting brought it to us. We wanted to try to get everything consistent, but we were actually, I think we need to request to table this or remove it altogether, because we feel that there is potential for that 1 foot freeboard in your construction code to be repealed. And so the last thing I think you want to as a jury is to adopt a floodplain ordinance that requires it if it's going to be amended out of your construction code. So I think it's probably a good idea if y'all want to just remove it altogether and wait and see what happens, and then we can bring it back to you after they have their hearing.
Being so agenda, do we do that here in the next meeting?
You can either remove it now, vote to remove it, or you can just table it.
I make a motion to remove it.
Second.
All right, got a motion by Mr. Michael, second by Mr. Sonny. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. President, if nobody has too much left, for 6G, I have a,
6G.
road on the beach that me and Mr. Alex been trying to get under,
Yes, sir.
basically get it back up to par, and, if Mr. Alex wants to shed a little light for y'all of how this is gonna help our road that we're supposed to maintain, I'd appreciate it if we can put them on the spot.
We're raising it, as of this morning, we got it about 6 to 10 inches higher than what it was. Just as of Thursday, we was working with the water on it, and, we're probably 5 inches above the water now. And then once we add that ditch, I think it's gonna help out a whole lot more.
And I know I already sent it to you, but I want to go on record saying I appreciate everything you're doing and your workers.
Yes, sir.
And they already got people on the beach that's noticing y'all took to it and addressing some of the issues that have been ongoing for quite some time. So
Well,
I want to appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Anything else? Thanks.
Was it insurance? Oh, okay, go ahead.
Mark, I did want to add to that, the permit is going to be, it's on a 25-day public notice period. It
Yes, ma'am.
actually will be on today, the 4th,
Mm-hmm.
as day 1 of public notice.
Okay.
So we
yeah.
should be able to do that ditch by September 1.
Yep.
So,
Sounds perfect, as long as we
just wanted to-
get into the gold.
Yes, sir. Also, I had one more on permits. J. Byron Olivier. I was looking at the permit application, and he did not describe. He's actually excavating a pond on the description of the project within the application. So we need to include that, Mary.
What is this at?
He's actually excavating a pond. That's how he's proposing to reclaim the water frontage property.
Okay. Yeah.
So I just need to put with excavations of pond.
Now, the only problem comes in is the property he's excavating is on the south
It's on the
side of
right.
Louisiana Avenue, and he's gonna be tracking that back and forth across Louisiana Avenue.
Right.
Which caused some damage.
So the pond is 330 feet by 150 feet.
Need to be bonded.
So I'm going to get with Alex, the road superintendent. We'll talk about all that, look at the ordinance. I know he's new, so I'm going to sit down with him and we'll go through all that, and I'll make sure he is aware, and then we'll see if a bond will be required or not. Right now, residential is not required. But again,
Well, it's not required if we don't move it off site. He's going across the road, so it's
It's still
basically
his property on both
I think
sides.
the
Yeah, it's
property
residential
cuts
on
the
both,
property.
so it's-
So it should be.
yeah.
Crossing
So he may go assess and look and keep investigating to see what, but I'll get with Alex and we'll make sure everything's taken care of.
And residential like pond or keeping the spoil or dirt or whatever you wanna describe it as on site. There's no other permit other than, I guess, a request for determination?
Right.
Okay.
I think when we get around to this, I'm not too sure we shouldn't table this till we find a little bit more out on it.
And that's fine because his application is really, he needs to put that really in his application. He shows it in the permitted plats, but not in the application. So I don't, that's a good recommendation.
Yeah, I
Table.
think we need to revisit that. Alex and I may be able to look at it too, as far as damages to our roads and stuff.
What is the, on G Mark was referring to, where we hauling the excavated material to?
I would think depending on what the spoil is, it would either go to, and of course it's gonna be Mr. Alex's determination, but I know if it's actual sand, there's, I believe a state law, you can't remove it from the beach, so it would have to be put back on. Now, if it's dirt, it would, I'm assuming it would get, if somebody wanted it, or it would probably be, brought.
It's here hauled off site.
We plan on putting it all back on the beach. We got a few spots that are washed out. We plan on just replacing it back on there.
So can you fix this, G, Mary?
But I would say it'd be hauled off site because it's being excavated off of our right of way and hauled onto the state,
Stay on site?
No, it is.
It's not gonna be
Technically
staying
would
on
be,
site, it's gonna,
It's being hauled off.
technically, it's gonna be hauled off of our parish right of way onto a state right of way.
It's correct, the way it's worded.
Okay.
Yes, I would like to see it, stay the same.
I'm not sure if this is a Kara or an Alex question, but if the potential approval of F happens today, what's the timeline on that? Are we still waiting more approvals or?
We just received the NDSI approval from the state, on last Thursday. I'm waiting on the Corps of Engineers, but I don't anticipate that happening, them reviewing too much longer. I'll reach out to the agent today to see.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll keep you posted.
And Ms.
Appreciate
Kara,
you.
before you
We're
go,
back.
on number 6C, I see it, extension of maintenance. Is that something in yours or somebody else's division? They give a little, hindsight 2020 on it?
Which 6 what?
K, it says
K.
Tacoma Parish gravity drainage to extend.
Yeah, that's lateral N. That's around the LeBeau Bayou, south of Oak Grove Highway, from the Creole Canal going east.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we back up to the, medical insurance again? Katie, is it,
Yes. You actually have something that you need to vote on, so as much as you don't like to talk about health insurance, I'm gonna get your insurance agent to the mic.
Okay.
Please.
That's 11.
is this, is the 8% increase a normal increase per year, or how much does it increase?
Okay, so, well, in the last 12 months, by the way, I'm Richie Gregory with Hub International, and we appreciate the opportunity to have served you all for so many years, working with the employees and retirees and all of the benefits. It's been nice working with Trudy and her team as well. Did want to mention too, while I'm thinking about it, I was hearing Tom Barrett talk about competitive disadvantages, and I feel like I'm at a disadvantage every time I'm fishing in the bath tournament with him. So tables have turned a little bit. But that being said, with respect to health insurance, you all are currently fully insured through Blue Cross Blue Shield of Louisiana. Last 12 months, y'all have paid Blue Cross $3.2 million in premium. Unfortunately, they've paid out $3.8 million in claims, so they're $600,000 in the hole. Last year, they were $400,000 in the hole. So we did get an 8.5% increase from the Blues. We did go out to the marketplace. We shopped Aetna, United Healthcare, and then the Police Jury Association that's out there. Everybody declined it because of the health claims. And so, we're faced with this 8.5. I will say, honestly, what we're seeing today, it's a very fair renewal. There was a big article in the Baton Rouge Morning Advocate yesterday, basically almost took up an entire page talking about health insurance increases this year that people are seeing in 25 and what's expected in 26. And we've been seeing a lot of double digits. So I was really quite pleased with the 8.5. I'm very close to the underwriters at Blue Cross. If I can get, if I've got one, competitive data, or two, just my relationship that we've got with the Blues, sometimes we can get relief, but there was no chance of getting any relief here.
All right.
Yeah. That being said, so we were recommending, you know, renewing with Blue Cross, not making any plan changes, taking the 8.5% increase. On the vision insurance, we are recommending a change from MetLife to Guardian. There would be no changes, that's a voluntary benefit, and basically no changes to the coverage. But basically what would happen, actually the allowances on frames and lenses would be a little better. So when I say no changes, the mechanics of the plan work the same, but some improvements. We've had some issues with MetLife on the service, and it would get your vision insurance. Once again, with Guardian, that's who we have the dental with, and we really like to have vision and dental together typically. So we were gonna recommend a change to Guardian, premiums staying exactly the same as they were before.
Just for curiosity, how does this increase go statewide with other municipalities?
Well, what happens, you all are in your fully insured block of business, and basically what Blue Cross does, and it's kind of unique, and it's, actually, I'll mention this, a good question. In the 100 employee to 250 employee space, Blue Cross actually pools all of their groups with other entities statewide, and they look at you on a quarterly basis. And what happens is that basically they'll say, hey, we're looking at, you know, third quarter groups, we've determined across the board, here's what we took in premium, here's what we paid out in claims. We've determined we need 10% increase across the board for the quarter, all those groups. Then they'll look at the police jury individually and say, hey, was it good or bad? And they'll deviate up or down, and you can end up from 0 to like 24%. So in that regard, y'all did well, and the fact that they pool accounts is very important. And I say that because when I look at your claims that you've got today, I can tell you that if you were with United Healthcare, it would be very possible that you could be faced like with a 60% increase. So I've got an account, if I said it, everybody'd know the name, but it happens to be in South Lake Charles, very prominent business, just got hit for the second year in a row with a 60% increase from United. Because United does not pool their cases, they're very penal, and they'll single you out. So I often say when I've got some of my Blue Cross customers out there who are getting a 6% increase and they're fussing, saying, well, we really should have been 0. Well, yeah, you're getting 6 and you're paying for the guy down the street who is really bad. So instead of him getting 60, he's getting 24, which is still not, you know, good. It's expensive. Point is, it is nice to share in some of that. So that's where Blue Cross, in my opinion, you're in the right spot, particularly with claims and all the way they're running. Last year, you could have moved to Aetna, by the way, saved a few dollars, and I can tell you they would have hit us this year. So to the point, you know, 8% I would say is very, very fair in today's environment.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Do you have any questions about the different options that we presented to you? What changes benefit-wise? So the motion's gonna be accept the
If you're talking
renewal.
about you talking about the cost going to the worker or something like
Yes,
that?
if you don't wanna accept the renewal at 8.5%, you did have other options to choose from, but if you're okay with the 8.5%,
Yeah, but as far as like passing it on, I saw something about passing it on to the employee. I'm not too keen about that. I mean, I know it went up, but I'd like to
95.5.
take that.
Like to take care of our employees.
Yes.
so the motion would just be to accept the renewals and, authority to change to Guardian, correct?
Yes.
Correct. And hopefully it won't be too much employee, but I think every dime, hopefully it shows appreciation to everything they do for us, in my opinion, so.
And what Katie was referencing, obviously, you'll have options to lower premiums, and I would tell you really, I'd save those for the day that if we happen to get a 20% increase or something, use those options then versus now on the 8.5. So.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
Any other items, yeah? Done. Mike?
I have nothing else, Mr. President.
Motion.
Any discussion from the subcommittee on item 18? Subcommittee members, do you want to make a comment? Or you want to save it
You
for the
wanna tee
voting?
them off?
Yeah, well, we had good turnout from here locally, with our little meeting here. Kind of voice, I reckon, I'm gonna say, let the RV owners, rent their RVs and own and rent their RVs if possible. You know, I think as far as a jury, our motion forward would be kinda relax some of that moving forward, but still, you know, word our ordinance in a way that anything greater than 25 RVs, that it would be a jury approval, and that's just to make sure that, you know, the location, we don't have zoning rules, we don't have all that, but at least the jury can represent the people and make sure that when we have these developments moving forward, that, you know, so it's basically anything more than 25 would come to the jury. Anything less than 25 would be handled just as a normal permitting. But I do think moving forward, it was discussed, Mark brought it to the attention about, you know, rules of different districts and all. I think we need to clean up that ordinance, do away with the privacy fences and the, you know, basically all the things we discuss, and have one parish-wide ordinance moving forward.
Yeah, I think that would be beneficial, especially on the burden for permitting, to where they don't have a bunch of different rules for the same topics.
So so what I understand, you'll vote generally to make changes to the ordinance. We'll have to draft it, all the advertising, come to a formal document. But what I hear, make sure I understand it, because we got to draft it. The provision that says the RV has to be owner occupied, you want to delete that.
Correct.
Number one. Number two, in the event that a new RV park is permitted and exceeds 25, you want that to come before the jury.
Correct.
Basically like a plan, you know, just to come tell us the reasoning, like location, what you plan.
If it's 25, or if it's more than 25, it's got to come before y'all.
Yes, sir.
Whatever the reason. So that's number two.
And TAS, I mean, I know the permitting office is here. I think when it is greater than that, they need to make sure that they have a plan of how that affects infrastructure, neighbors, such and such, you know.
Sure.
Yeah, and also, especially if you come with a large RV park, and when I say large, I'm gonna say 100 or greater, you know, make sure that they have a storm plan in place.
Trucking contract with trucking companies or whatever to move them out.
No more than 25.
I would say just a
where they have
storm plan. I mean.
capability to.
Some,
All right. Okay. The point is, structuring this, so 26 or more.
Yeah.
Up to 25 is okay. 26 or more, you wanna have some input on that and some discretion, considering infrastructure, police, fire, all those things we have to consider. So delete owner occupied, 26 or greater on a new RV park. Then you mentioned something about fencing.
We wanna do away, right now in some of the current ordinance, like in my district, previous police chairman put in there about privacy fences. Well, that's not even being done right now. So.
This,
Yeah.
all I get is this.
Yeah,
I don't get that.
I know. I saw that.
I think,
That's what it's.
Okay, so. No. So I sent y'all an email the other day on section 4.25/13. What I get off the computer is just the first sentences that don't tell me anything, but then there's all this that I didn't get. So evidently there is a restriction in your ordinance regarding hackberry, so I apologize, but we'll fix that and make it consistent parish-wide, the 26 or greater, so forth and so on. And with respect to the other requirements that your ordinance, whether it be fencing, so forth and so on, I'll give the permit and we'll delete and amend that accordingly. That's it?
I think the only need of fencing or such is if that plan comes back to us, 25 or greater, and we see neighbors or,
Sure.
it's case.
If you got a park in the middle of nowhere, what's the point of a fence? But if they're in a neighborhood, you might wanna make that a condition. I get, yeah. All right.
any other conditions, Ms. Robin, that you aware of on this?
That's it.
And Mr. Tom?
Yes.
When
This
this,
is just them voting to tell us what to do, and then we'll put the formal ordinance in place.
and when that draft is put in place, can we run that by the subcommittee?
Oh, yeah. I'll send you a draft. I'll send it out to everybody.
Sounds good.
And Miss Katie, and just looking out for the future and to kind of get some of the load off a permit, if there's something that's not really technical and it's different in a bunch of areas, I would like to see if maybe we'll bring it up and have discussion and see if we're keen on trying to find a good medium to where it's across the board. I don't know how many more is like this, by Ms. Robbins' nod. I think she would appreciate that. So, you know, if it's something kind of similar to this, you know, I know it's a lot, because I kind of research a little bit too much sometimes. So just trying to look out and take some of the burden off of them if we can. So.
Right, anything else? Any other discussions?
Thank you, Katie.
Mr. President, do you want to take like a 20-minute break for lunch before
Yes.
we reconvene? So like 12:30? It's 11:52 right now, 12:30, we'll call the voting meeting to order.
Okay, can you ask the line clerk?
Any motion?
just to take
Move to adjourn.
the lines clerk?
Motion by Mr. Sonny, second,
Stevie and Kayla.
Mr. Sam, all
All
in
the
favor?
green cards.
Aye.
And we'll reconvene at 12:30.
12:30. Lions Club members, can you please meet Miss Julie? She wants a picture.
Stevie does.